With 5 games to go in the regular season, both Penn State soccer varsity programs seek to place themselves once again amongst the top in the country. Welcome to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Juan Mendez. Joined alongside me is Morgan Boll and Anna Licastro. The two teams found great success last season, closing off strong and making it to the NCAA tournament. With many veteran pieces leaving for the pros, it does become difficult to maintain that winning status, this year being a true test of the integrity within Penn State soccer. That being said, what can you tell me about these two teams so far this season?
So right now, for men's, I really don't think it's going that great. I think they could be playing a lot better. They're at a current record of 4-3-3 right now. And so far, they've tied 2 conference matches, which I think is a little disappointing. I think they could have won those games. But granted, they have lost a few of those key players from last year, like Danny Bloyu, Pierre Reedy. They're gone in the offense now. And then defensively, Brandon Hackenberg's gone. So they have these big games ahead of them. So I think the veteran players need to step it up. There's enough veteran players from last year, returners, that should have been able to win those 2 conference matches that they tied. And I'm a little disappointed in the Villanova game. They lost 1-0 when last year they beat them 4-0. That's when Mangione had that famous hat trick during that game. So I was kind of sitting there watching that game hoping he would have another hat trick. That never happened. And overall I'm pretty disappointed, but I think there's hope for the next 5 games coming up.
Well, on the other side, the women's soccer team is not looking terrible, but could definitely be looking better. They're currently sitting at 7-3-2 on the season and 2-2-1 in the conference, with their last 2 games being back-to-back Big Ten losses against Michigan State and Ohio State. Historically, I feel like this team has always had a really strong offense, but recently they've really been struggling to actually capitalize on all the scoring chances they create for themselves. They've been leading their games in shots, but they've been unable to actually put them in the back of the net, and it's causing them to lose all their momentum. Just yesterday, they outshot Ohio State 16-8 and yet still lost 3-0. They've got 5 regular season games ahead of them, and it's going to be absolutely necessary that they get back in their groove and they're able to find the back of the net.
100%. And with that women's team, the expectation is so high, but it's also expected that things were going to change because Sam Coffey is now shining with the U.S. national team as well. So a lot of gaps are being filled, a lot of people left, but these two teams really got to figure things out. And, with that, like I mentioned, Sam Coffey, you have Brandon Hackenberg, you have Carrie Abello, Aaron Molloy, all these who shined with the Nittany Lions in the past. But every season, there seems to be a new group that comes in, steps up, and elevates the quality of the team and, of course, its ability to obtain those results. With that in mind, who have you been your standout players so far this season?
Well, I've got to start with redshirt senior forward Allie Schlegel. She's leading the team in goals so far this season with 5 goals, which is nothing unusual for her. She's been an absolute powerhouse since she joined the team back in 2019. And then following right behind her with 4 goals is Penelope Hawking, another senior forward who's been doing outstanding this season. She actually was just named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week last Sunday. She is a force to be reckoned with in the offense. And then on the other end of the field, we have sophomore defender Micah Shyman, who's been doing amazing as well, especially for someone who's an underclassman and a little bit younger. She was also just named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week last Sunday. And not only is she an absolute brick wall in the defensive line, she's already scored 3 goals this season. She's doing it all.
So I can't say enough about Chris Shakes. Just look at him in that picture in the top left corner jumping for the ball. He does that all the time. He's had 14 career shutouts, which I think just shows how great of a goalie he is for Penn State. And I truly do believe that if he wasn't in goal, Penn State would be doing a lot worse. He really saves the team. And then the rest, this famous trio, Peter Mangione, Andrew Pivette, and Liam Butts. Coach Cook talks about them all the time. They really have the chemistry in the offense to create so many opportunities. And recently, Andrew Pivette and Liam Butts were injured, so they were out for a few games, and you could really tell the rhythm in the offense was a little bit off. So now that they're back, I think we're going to see some improvement. And then just one other player I want to talk about is Femi Awadesu on defense. He's really stepped it up a lot. I think, with Brandon Hackenberg gone, he's been working the defense. He's always there in front of the net, stopping the ball. So, yeah, those are some great players.
I have to emphasize what you said on Chris Shakes. A lot of people are scared because he's not the tallest guy. He's about 5'11", but he's so quick to the ball always. And he was the defensive player of the tournament in the Big Ten tournament last year, so he knows when to step up when it matters. So I'm really glad you mentioned that about Chris Shakes. With that, there's 5 games left in the regular season, and every match is suddenly 10 times more important, as is the overall synergy of the lineup. Both teams have really tough schedules ahead and prior to the Big Ten tournament, so there's a lot of room for prophecy. Morgan, what can you predict is going to happen on the men's side?
So I think that the men's team is going to make it pretty far in the Big Ten tournament. I'm not sure about winning it like they did last year, but I think for sure they're going to beat Michigan State, Rutgers, and Michigan in the next few games. You know, they beat them last year, so I think they won't have a problem doing that this year. But I think Indiana and Ohio State is where they're going to have some trouble. Last year, during the regular season, Indiana beat them 1-0, but then Penn State came back in the Big Ten tournament championship game and they beat them 3-0. So I think that game could go one of 2 ways. And then I really think that Ohio State is going to be tough for them because they did beat them 2-1 last year. But like I said before, with Andrew Pivette and Liam Butts back on the offense, I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think they have a chance of making it pretty far.
Yeah, just like the men's team and the women's team has 5 conference games in a row heading into the Big Ten tournament, I think this team is undeniably talented and perfectly capable of doing really well if they're able to finish the ball. I really see absolutely no reason why they shouldn't beat Maryland and Iowa at least. They did lose to Michigan last year, but based on their record this year, it's looking like a winnable game. I think the real challenge is definitely going to be Wisconsin. They're sitting at 10-1-2 on the season right now and 5-0 in the conference. So Penn State is really going to have to bring their A game in the offense and the defense if they want a shot at breaking that winning streak.
Like it was mentioned, every game is worth 10 times more, and these 2 teams have a lot of talent. All the new recruits, the transfers, everything is really going to have to really pay out in these last 5. Now, both teams will continue conference play later this week. The women will be on the road against Maryland, while the men return to Jeffrey Field to host a red-hot Michigan State team. That is all we have tonight for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Morgan Boll and Anna Licastro, I'm Juan Mendez, and have a great night.
Hey everybody! Thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.